Well, good evening and welcome to our first annual State of the Schools address. Before we get started this evening, there are several thank yous I'd like to say, as well as a few groups of people that I would like to acknowledge. First and foremost, I want to thank the members of our Board of Education for not only being here this evening, but for believing in us, challenging us, and helping us to set a vision for our district that will take us to places we've never been before. I want to thank all of our teachers and support staff. Our Deer Park teachers and support staff are the most dedicated, caring, and hardworking people I've ever met, and our community is lucky to have every one of them, and there's several of them here this evening. I want to thank the entire administrative team, from our building administrators all the way through our central office administrative team. I didn't require my building administrators to be here this evening because they spent so many nights away from home already, but a couple of them are here anyway, so thank you for being here. These folks work incredibly hard to provide the best conditions for our staff and our students to learn, grow, and succeed. I want to thank our students for constantly striving to better themselves, and our parents for supporting your kids to do their very best. Last but not least, I want to thank all of you for coming this evening. I know it's a busy week with a lot happening, but for you to take an hour out of your evening and to spend it with us learning about your school district really says a lot, especially on a cold or rainy night like this. The family and community engagement, investment, and belief in our school district is what makes Deer Park, in my humble opinion, one of the best districts to be a part of in the entire region and even state. For that, I say thank you to all of you. The purpose of this evening is twofold: to both celebrate and to inform you of the current state of the school district. I'm pleased to be able to stand in front of you this evening and confidently say we're in a great spot and we do have a lot to celebrate. Our school district report card continues to steadily improve. We continue to add more innovative and rigorous course offerings to our students. Our entire athletic program is having more success than it's had in a very long time. Our marching Wildcats have continued their reign of success and have recently qualified for their 27th state OMEA band competition in a row, which, just a shameless plug, is Sunday, 12:45 p.m., Dayton's Welcome Stadium. And our facilities continue to improve with each year that passes. This evening, you're going to hear from several members of our senior level administrative team. I would like to introduce those team members to you right now. Dr. Stace Orso is our Director of Curriculum, and she's going to be speaking to you this evening about our district report card and giving you an update on some of our innovative course offerings that we have throughout the district. Mrs. Patty Hadden is our Director of Student Services. And Patty's going to be speaking to some of the great programs we offer to support all of our students, as well as some of the great outreach programs we have to help support our students and parents and community at large. Mr. Jake Snyder is our Director of Communications, and he's going to share the many ways that we work to tell the story of our students, our families, and our school community. I'm also going to introduce you to Jim Stoll, our Director of Business Operations. Jim is more of a behind-the-scenes guy, so many of you may not have had a chance to meet or see Jim before, but Jim's been very instrumental to this district and all the large capital improvement projects we have recently completed, as well as many different fundraisers he has led on the district's behalf. Jim's going to be speaking to you about those capital improvement projects and also give you a little foreshadowing of work to come. Lastly, I want to introduce you to Jeff Lewis. Jeff is our Assistant Treasurer, but he's currently serving as our interim treasurer while our treasurer, Melissa Harner, is out on maternity leave. Jeff and I have worked closely to put together some important information regarding our district finances, and I'm going to share that information with you this evening. I think we have a great story to tell about the state of our school district, so without further ado, I'm going to invite Dr. Stace Orso to come to the podium to share out our district report card and curriculum program.
Well, good evening. Thank you all. Again, I'll reiterate what Mr. Phillips said. Thank you all for coming out this evening, especially on a cold, rainy night like this. I'm going to take just a few minutes this evening and talk through a little bit of the report card and just share with you our successes from the 18-19 school year, a couple areas where we still want to grow, and then talk about some of the ways that we measure success here in Deer Park. So this is the overview of our report card from the 18-19 school year. And as you can see, we earned a B overall. So essentially, I forgot I have to stand behind the podium, don't I? So essentially, they take the 6 components that you see down below, and they combine all of those to give you your overall report card grade of a B. And as you can see, only 32% of the districts in the entire state received a B or higher as an overall grade. So that's definitely something for us to celebrate. And I'm going to talk through each of those components very briefly this evening. The first one is achievement. And we can certainly get into the weeds, but I'm going to keep this pretty 30,000 foot view this evening. So you look at the achievement. The achievement is when you hear people talk about state test scores and math and ELA test scores and science at certain grade levels, and then and of course assessments at the high school level that you have to earn a certain number of points in order to graduate. That's this measure right here, achievement. The thing to keep in mind with the achievement measure is every school district has to hit that same bar. So regardless of where your students are starting, we are measured against every other school district in the state to hit that exact same bar, okay? So when we're looking at achievement, your performance index, you get points based on how well your students perform. They get ranked in these 5 categories, and there's weights to that. And so that determines that. And then your indicators met says, did 80% of your students score proficient on all of those assessments? And then they throw in a couple of other indicators such as gifted, chronic absenteeism, and some other things. There's 24 of those. And so as you can see, we went from a D to a C. So we certainly still have some room to grow here, but also we're still moving in the right direction. And if you note down below, 71% of the districts in the state received an F on those indicators met. All right, moving along, progress. So this is one of those areas that we feel really good about because we're measuring ourselves. And so we're really looking apples to apples here. And so our progress really looks at the growth that all students are making. So really what you shoot for is a C. And I know that's weird to say and weird to hear, but a C says that a student has grown a year. And so a C is really what you shoot for. Anything above and beyond that is fantastic, but a C ensures that every student grew a year. So if you can see here, we went from a C to an A in our progress, which is fantastic and definitely something that we really want to celebrate and keep moving in that direction to keep that grade up. But teachers have been working so hard to help us reach that goal. Deer Park is in the top 18% of districts in the state who received an overall A. So top 18%. So that is certainly something that we want to continue to strive for. Gap closing. So this is going to look at all of our subgroups. And so as I don't know if you can read that. It's very small print, but we look at economically disadvantaged. We look at African American students, multiracial students, so on and so forth. So all of the subgroups that we have in the district. And what gap closing does is it looks at the performance index. So it looks at how students performed on those state tests. So the top left is ELA, the top right is math, and the bottom one is graduation. All of those lines going across represent different subgroups, and then those red dots represent where the state expected us to be. And so as you can see, we exceeded in every single category for every subgroup in ELA, math, and graduation rate. And so what that's saying is that all of our subgroups, we are closing that gap. So a lot of times what happens is you may have your students as a whole perform very well, but then you see your subgroups falling below that and not achieving to the same standard that all of our other students are achieving to. And so this is showing that our teachers and students are working very hard to close those gaps. All right, graduation rate. This is a good one. So we are judged or graded on a 4-year graduation rate and a 5-year graduation rate. So your 5-year graduation rate is always going to be higher than your 4-year because it takes those 4-year grads plus students that also graduate within 5 years into consideration. And so we have an A for the 4-year rate and an A for the 5-year rate, and we remain at an A, which we have been at an A for our graduation rate for several years now. So those are the things that we're really celebrating on our report card this year. A couple areas for growth that I want to talk about briefly. The 2 other components here are Prepared for Success and Improving At-Risk K-3 Readers. And I will tell you that when we look at Prepared for Success, when you look at the report card, you do have to kind of understand some of the inner workings of it. Because it can be a little bit deceiving, as can the Improving At-Risk K-3 Readers component as well. So when we're looking at prepared for success, a couple of things to note. We're looking at how well prepared Ohio students are for future opportunities. So we're looking at, they look at your ACT remediation free scores. So all juniors take the ACT, so they look at those scores. Then you can also get bonus points for students that are that earn an honors diploma, an industry recognized credential, a 3 or better on an AP exam, and students who earn credits through College Credit Plus. However, students can only count for you once. So you only get bonus points for students once. So while you may have students that hit you in multiple categories, you only get their credit one time. 84, like I said, 84% of the districts across the state received a D or an F in this, so much so that there is a subgroup of superintendents who are actually working with legislators to have this component completely removed from the report card altogether, because it is not truly a measure of prepared for success. The other thing to keep in mind is the way that this component is developed and designed, it really benefits larger districts. Much more so over smaller districts. So we're at a little bit of a disadvantage with that. Not making excuses, just important to sort of know some of the ins and outs of it. As far as improving at-risk K-3 readers, a lot of people equate this to the third grade reading guarantee and how many students pass the test to qualify for the third grade reading guarantee. This is not that at all. What this is actually looking at is it looks at the number of students who come into third grade off track and what percentage of those students you get on track. So it only is looking at students who come in off track, not your holistic group of students. So it also is just a little bit deceiving and important to sort of note those things. 70% of the districts across the state received a C or lower there. So then it's also important to look at other similar districts across the state. So according to the Ohio Department of Education, these are the 10 most similar districts to us across the state of Ohio. I know that that is hard to read, but I'll point out a couple of things that are important on this chart. So if you look at that, there's some here in the Cincinnati area, and then there's some others that are up north. This is really based on demographics, size, socioeconomic class. So these are the other 10 districts in the state that are most similar to us according to the ODE. And what you see is only one other district received a B overall grade on their report card. There were 7 that received C's and 2 that received D's. So in comparison to other schools that are very much like us, we are doing exceptionally well. And then finally, I wanted to end my part on how we define prepared for success here in Deer Park and what we're doing to prepare our students for success. The prepared for success component is really a high school based component. So I focused on some of the high school components here and other ways that we define success for our students. We do have 9 AP offerings at the high school. In a district as small as ours, we have pretty good enrollment in those. We actually went up in enrollment by 38 enrollments this year in our AP courses. And so our enrollment is going up and our teachers are working very hard to prepare our students for those AP exams. And then most of you are very well aware of the career academies, but I want to talk about some of the expansion that we've done over the past couple of years. Project management was one of the first ones to roll out with a 101 level course, and then it rolled out with a 201, and now we have a 301. And from that, we partner with the Project Management Institute. So we're the first high school in the United States to have this project management course partnership with Project Management Institute. And we've had 2 students who have graduated Deer Park and come back to take the CAP-M exam, and that gives them the project management credentialing that they can then take with them to project management if they choose to pursue that. And so it's a great credential for them to be able to have, and first 2 students to be able to take advantage of that in the United States. So that's something that is unique to Deer Park for sure. We have Entrepreneurship 101, and we've also expanded that to 201. We have the Engineering Project Lead the Way courses that we partner with through the Oaks. Sports Medicine 101, 201, and 301. 301 is that internship that a student has the opportunity to do with our athletic director, and so they may intern with the athletic director for football games and things like that and earn a grade that way. And then this year we rolled out Manufacturing 101 as well, and so we're offering 1 bell of that. And we're partnered with Monty Manufacturing down in Bond Hill for that part of it. So Mr. Jones is our instructor. He's a former superintendent at Ford. and teaches our students the Manufacturing 101 class. And then finally, the one thing that's not on here that I'd like to mention is the UCIT pathway, where students are able to enroll in the UCIT courses. It's a lot of programming, and they take all these courses, and if they do certain things, they have automatic admission to the University of Cincinnati and go in with multiple credits. And there's a whole pathway for them to have internships and graduate debt-free, which is a great opportunity for our students as well. So I believe those are all of my slides. So this time I'd like to introduce our Director of Student Services, Ms. Patty Hadden.
I have a teacher voice, so I don't really think I need this mic, but I will use it anyway. So thanks for being here. My role today is to cover the next chapter of our story, Amazing Story as a District, talking about programs and outreach that we do in the district. The guiding premise of all of our programming decisions is our core value that students will be the center of all decisions that we make. So the things I'm going to talk about are really based on what we do with students. Deer Park serves students through a wide variety of programming and services. So in collaboration with Hamilton County Educational Service Center, we provide preschool programming both at the Holmes building and at the Amity building to serve our really youngest Wildcats. So we're serving students as young as 3 in that programming. Students who are identified as gifted are served through enrichment instruction in the classroom and in pull-out setting. We provide Title I reading services at the Amity building for K through 6 for students that are struggling in the area of reading. English language learners are served through an immersion programming and options. So we immerse them in the English language, and we have English language learners all the way through grade 12. We partner with the Children's Home. They're moving to a term Best Point, that's their educational services, to provide mental health supports in both of our buildings. And this year at the high school, we added the H3 Academy, which is allowing students who are designated to have a group therapy option in their day. And so we have a unit at the high school that helps with that. The district serves special education students from age 3 and some up to age 22 with a continuum of services that range from full inclusion in a regular education classroom to a specialized classroom or to outplacements outside of the district if that is their need. On November 5th at the 4:30 work session for the board, I'll be speaking about how you qualify for special education services and what services there are. So if you're interested in more information, that's a good session for you to consider to attend, and I welcome you to join us if you'd like to. High quality educators empower our students. So this is a really important part for us related to how our students are going to succeed. So on the calendar, school calendar, you'll notice there's 7 full days of professional development that are laser focused into what we need to do district-wide to improve our educators' toolbox so that they're able to service our students in the best way possible. And although this time is extremely valuable, the district has committed to embedding our professional development into what's happening daily in the classroom. So this has made our PD plan shift from folks going out to in-services and sessions to us bringing in 5 instructional coaches who work with teachers in their environment, in the classroom, helping them grow and train and learn right in the classroom where they have the biggest impact. Our dedicated staff engages in ongoing personal professional development by doing book studies and coursework and team collaboration. So I feel like our staff is continually learning how to better serve our students, and we are really, really lucky that our teachers put in so much time and effort, and that includes our support staff, spending time in online training and different trainings to get better at their practice. Learning for our students does not end when the school day ends, and it really comes to life with these opportunities that we offer to our students to go beyond the walls of the classroom. Students learn about being strong, contributing citizens in a community. They learn about leadership, service, teamwork, and participate in numerous activities that will lead them to have a well-rounded education. On the slide, you can see some of the things. Camp Kern for our 5th graders, do that in the fall. We have a lot of service up there that you will see. Our holiday food drive, the clothing closet. Athletics and fine arts gives them many opportunities to participate in things that they love outside of academics. And then our newest is the Chick-fil-A leadership program, where students are going to have the opportunity to do some leadership things in the real world of work. And finally, Deer Park schools are part of a broader community, and we work in collaboration with numerous community partners. One Deer Park is an organization of local churches that support the district and families in a variety of ways, and we meet with them once a month and talk about our needs within the school community, and then how they can support us. Mind Peace is a mental health organization that provides guidance and support, along with our therapeutic partners, the Children's Home. This partnership allows us to meet the mental health needs of our students. Grant Us Hope has been instrumental in the development of our Hope Squad at the high school, and this year we added a junior high Hope Squad, which is helping us be active in suicide prevention. Simplify 3D is our brand new partnership. That's going to help us establish a 3D printing club, so that's really exciting for kids and for grown-ups too. I'm wondering what I could give them to make in that 3D printer. That'd be kind of fun. Mercy Health provides not only our athletic trainer for our athletes, but also help develop and implement our sports medicine program at Deer Park High School, along with being a major supporter of the turf campaign. And then finally, IBM is our e-mentoring partner and a great unique program for some of our high school students to be a part of. So as you can see, there's a lot of different offerings for our students that allow them to learn and grow and pursue to have a really bright future. So next is our Director of Curriculum or Communication. You want to do curriculum? Jake Snyder.
Patty said she has a teacher voice. I'm just loud, so I'll try to keep it down here. When I kind of started to put this together and think about what I was doing, one of the first things that I thought about is that part of what my job is wearing a ton of hats, and everyone's sitting at this table, and I'm sure many people out there know what it's like to wear a bunch of hats, but I wanted to go through some of those things with you. And so there's a few things that kind of fall under my umbrella, and the first one is the upkeep and maintenance of our website. So I'm handling all of the day-to-day work on the website, keeping things up to date. It also includes collaboration with our administrators in the completion of the quality profile every single year, which is kind of the opposite side of those district test scores that we talked about. This is kind of that we are a well-rounded district. It shares all of the other pieces that we have with that. It also, part of my job is the completion of our flip calendar every year that we pass out at the beginning of school. Excited to kind of talk about this one because this year it actually earned a mark of distinction from the Ohio School Public Relations Association, one of 10 in the state for that special publications is what they call it category. So, that's something that we're really proud of. And, it's something that goes out to families throughout the district and keep everybody informed about what's going on. I'm also charged with attending hundreds of events every year just to take pictures. You'll see me around. I'm the guy with the camera everywhere. So that's part of my job as well. But all of that stuff is just the job part of it. At the heart of what I'm really here to do is to tell our district stories. And over the last 3 years almost now, I've been charged with the one to tell our stories. And there's so many awesome things going on at Deer Park. In the last few months, just recently, we've met 8th grader Carson DiNardo. Carson spent his most recent summer in the Everglades studying marine biology, learning about dolphins and alligators. You can see awesome picture there. We've also got Braylon Dennis. Braylon's a 5th grader at Amity here. He completed in a skills competition for the Cincinnati Reds over the summer, competing against over 1,000 participants. Braylon finished first amongst 5th and 6th graders. Next spring, he's going to be honored at Great American Ballpark on the field. So awesome story for Braylon. And then there's two of my friends, I'll call them. This is Colin and Jordan. I know we don't pick favorites in schools, right? We don't. But let me just say that these two I enjoy being around as much as anybody in the district. And Colin and Jordan have a couple of special stories. They're part of the Deer Park Coffee Cart. The coffee cart goes around, if you don't know about it, it goes around the high school, and there's one at Amity as well, and they deliver coffee to teachers. They sell it to them to raise money for different things. And what it does is it teaches these real-world, real-life skills to our students about customer service and about just different things like that. The other thing that they do every year is they go and they participate in the soccer at Special Olympics at River's Edge, which is a super cool story as well. And we did videos about both of these, which is you're seeing clips of them. And those videos, actually, the coffee cart video also received a mark of distinction at OSPRA. It was one of 5 videos to receive the mark of distinction this year. So super exciting stuff that we're doing and just featuring these kids like this. We've got football player Trey Munson, who won the Cincinnati Enquirer Sports Player of the Week this week. We just talked about these 2 recent graduates, Daniel Daly and Mark Everman, who just finished the CAP-M certification. And I want to correct Stace on this, not in a bad way. They weren't the first 2 people in the country. They were the first 2 people in the world to be recent college or recent high school graduates to finish this CAP-M certification. To be the first person in the world to do anything is awesome, right? And that happened here at Deer Park. That's incredible. You know, and it just keeps going on and on. We've got alumnus Daniel Winter, who headed off last spring to Army officer training. We've got Haley Fisk, who's a junior. She won a writing competition at Mount St. Joe's. I mean, I can go on and on about these stories. We have so many to tell. And that's where everyone here and everyone throughout the district comes in, because we have a way that you can help me find these stories. And you're looking at it right here. All you have to do is go onto our website. You click that tab at the top, and it takes you, it's news and events, and there's a submit your news tab right there. You fill out this quick little survey, and that comes right to me, and we reach out and we can tell those stories. I'm just really asking you, if you know what's going on, if you know something I don't, please fill this out, send it my way, I'll take care of the rest. The rest of that stuff, it's all on there. Over the past 6 months, this year, I presented twice about our strategic plan. I know everybody sitting here has heard us talk ad nauseum about our strategic plan, but I've presented twice about it. Once at the Ohio School PR Conference in Columbus, and then once at the National School PR Conference in Washington. And every time I do that, I start that presentation with a direct quote. I say, Deer Park is a school district that I truly believe is on the rise. When you do what I do every day, you better believe that, or you're in the wrong place. I really do believe that this is a school district on the rise, and my job is to get those stories out to the world. So I'm going to pass it off to Jim now.
I'm not the most technologically advanced person in the world, so they will not let me have the clicker. But I want to go on record saying I did not sabotage the beginning of the event tonight. In the fall of 2015, I'm Jim Stoll, Director of Business. In the fall of 2015, we completed the renovation and the innovation of the career academies at the junior senior high school. The renovation there also included a new state-of-the-art strength facility, renovated locker rooms, coaches' offices, new gymnasium floor for the main and the auxiliary gyms. In 2015 and 16, Deer Park alumni, corporations, community members, and if I took a show of hands, which I will not do, almost a lot of people in here contributed for us to privately raise money necessary for a state-of-the-art turf field at Deer Park Stadium. The entire $800,000 project was funded with private funds and has helped Deer Park schools connect with hundreds of their alumni. The Deer Park community and Board of Education then partnered with the community on their commitment to provide facilities for students and staff that would meet or exceed the needs of 21st century learning. The community passed a $25 million bond levy to renovate and build an equal size addition onto this beloved Amity school and make it a state-of-the-art K-6 building. Where you are sitting today is evidence of the love and the commitment that we all share for Deer Park schools, and you are welcome to tour the building if you haven't done so already tonight, or see Josh, and he'll be happy to take you through anytime. Through cost-saving measures, too numerous to mention, the Deer Park staff, administration, and board was committed to bring the Amity project in on time and under budget. We were able to do this, and we saved $1.5 million, working very closely with HGC, our construction manager, and SHP, our architects. During the many meetings after that, and coffees and conversations that over the past few years that the superintendent, Mr. Phillips, the board, along with him, heard loud and clear that the highest priority after Amity was to bring the junior senior high school into the 21st century by installing air conditioning to the junior senior high school. With the savings that we were able to save on this project, we then moved that forward, and we accomplished putting air conditioning in the junior senior high school through the summer and the month of September. When several districts always got a kind of a kick when Finneytown and Harrison and some other school districts called off school because of the heat. Deer Park schools were educating our kids in a great environment. Studies show that kids improve learning and retain lessons and knowledge by as much as 17% more when in a controlled 72-degree environment. That's a difference from going from a B to an A in many cases. Most recently, the board has engaged a group of staff and community stakeholders to put together a 5 to 10 year comprehensive facility plan for community improvements moving forward. The facility plan includes, but is not limited to, roofing plans for our building, renovation of the beloved Crawford Auditorium, front entrance security at the junior senior high school, making the junior senior high school ADA compliant, improving science labs, upgrading classrooms and hallways at the junior senior high, media room and library improvements, tennis court renovation and increased parking possibilities, improving the courtyard and the cafeteria at the junior senior high, and perhaps moving the bus compound to create a more parking and better aesthetic look next to Crawford Auditorium. The district administration and the board is committed to looking for creative ways to fund these various projects. The turf field project was an example of how private funding can sometimes be achieved to move a district forward without a burden on the taxpayers. We have been creative on providing funding for the district. Another example has been the 10-year contract that we signed with Mercy Health, which provides $265,000 over the life of that contract. Additionally, last year the board signed a 30-year contract with Verizon to build a cell tower, or put a cell tower on top of one of our light poles at the football stadium. That 30-year contract will net the district $600,000 over the course of the project. So we are ever cognizant about being creative for funding projects without asking the taxpayers for dollars. We're proud of what we've accomplished the last few years, and we look forward to making sure our facilities keep us prepared for students and staff for 21st century learning. I'll now turn the mic over to Mr. Phillips, our superintendent, talk about district finances and bring the evening to a close. Thank you.
So district finances is always a topic that we often don't talk about, but it's something that I want to share with you, all of you this evening. And I feel like we're in a very good place. And this first slide that I want to show you, it's our forecast executive summary. And just to kind of take you through this slide, and I am moving away from the podium, and the reason we keep saying that is this is our mic for our feed that we're going to put on the internet. So I need to stay as close to it so it can pick me up. But if you look at our graph here, this graph shows our total revenue, which is this black bar, and our total expenditures, which is the gray bar. In 2013, as most of you know, we passed a combined operating and PI levy. And so if this graph from going back to the fiscal year 2018, 17, 16, 15, 14, you would have seen these black bars start to raise. But then eventually they start to flatten out. Okay, and that's one of the problems with Ohio school financing is that when you levy a tax, for example, property tax, you can only collect that amount that you levied. Even when property values rise, the millage actually then decreases. So you collect that same amount all the time. And while you're collecting the same amount, as we all know, expenditures always go up. And that's why there's this vicious cycle in Ohio. Every 3 to 5 years, school districts are coming back to their voters talking about money. And fortunately for us, we guaranteed the community it would last 5 years. That was 2013. We're sitting in the fall of 2019. So we're 6 years and we're still sitting pretty comfortably which to me makes me feel really good about the fact that we've been very good fiscal stewards of your dollar and are trying to make it last as long as we can. But you can see from the black bars, total revenue, it's kind of topped out. Right now, the state of Ohio with the new governor, they passed a 2-year freeze on all school funding. That's something that, there's a fair school funding formula out there that superintendents and legislators have created over the last couple of years that's been proposed. But when Governor DeWine came into office, it was too expensive to fund. So what they did is said, let's study this a little more, but in the meantime, we're going to freeze your funding. So you can see that our funding's frozen, and we're not collecting any more property taxes, so our black bars are staying pretty constant. But again, the expenses, they're always going to continue to creep up, and that's just due to natural inflation. The yellow line is our cash balance. Okay, as you can see, we just finished fiscal year 2019. So June 30th of 2019 was the end of a fiscal year. And fiscal years don't follow school normal calendar years or even the regular January to December calendar year. Fiscal years go from July 1 to June 30th. So we just finished June 30th with a ending cash balance of almost $11.5 million, which is really healthy. That's good for us. But as you can see, as expenses go up and revenue stays the same, we eat into that cash balance as we finish fiscal year 20, 21, 22, 23, so on and so forth. But it's also good to note, you can see these numbers, we still maintain a pretty healthy cash balance. So we're not even this year talking about levies or money. We're not even going to have to come talk to you to ask you when you want us to go for another year to 2 years out. And you obviously, when you get to the end in fiscal year 2024, you start having some concern. But that's something we're going to talk to the community about when the time is right, and you're going to tell us what to do, okay? I think it's also important to note what the expenditures of a school district are. This bar graph, or stack bar graph, you can see in every school district is very similar. Salaries and benefits are typically about 75% of the school's budget, okay? On top of that, you see purchase services, supplies and materials. Supplies, materials, purchase services, benefits, and salaries really make up about 95% of the school's budget. So that money goes directly to impact our students. It's not the capital outlay, it's not paying our debt. 95% really goes to impact our students directly. I also want to say for our district average annual change has been an increase of 3.9%, okay, in expenditures. The national average rate of inflation over the course of our nation since the early 1900s is 3.15%. So we're sticking pretty close to the average rate of inflation, which I think signifies that, once again, we're doing pretty well with what we have. I also want to take a quick look at per student spending comparison. I felt like this was a good graph to show. The red line indicates our county, Hamilton County average. And in 2018, the Hamilton County average was $13,365 per student to educate a student. In Deer Park, we spent $12,849.43. And you can see we've constantly been below the Hamilton County average, and I think producing a better product. So we're doing a lot more with less. And I think that's important to note. And I think the past 2 years, this is another good statistic for us as a district, and it just shows our good fiscal stewardship, is that we've won the Auditor of State Award the last 2 years. And we expect, I know I've talked to Jeff Lewis and Melissa Harner, our treasurer, who's out on maternity leave, we expect to have the same thing for 2019 as well. So 2017, 2018, both those years we were Auditor of State Award winners. So, I think we have, a great story to tell regarding our district finances, along with our academics. So, in closing this evening, I hope you found this information beneficial and informative. Again, we came to you wanting to be very transparent about the state of our schools. And as I said at the very beginning of this, I feel like the state of our schools are in really good shape. We always want to improve and be better, but I feel like we are in a good spot. And as Jake said multiple times, we're a district on the rise. Our entire team here at Deer Park Schools, from our support staff to our teachers to our administrators and Board of Education, work very hard every single day to provide the best possible learning environment and opportunities for the students of Deer Park to grow and thrive. If you ever have any questions about any of the items that were shared this evening, I invite you to come and meet with me or any of our building and district administrators at any time. We're always happy to speak with any of our families and community members regarding what is going on in our schools. We won't always have the answers, and we know that, but together we can always become better. I want to thank everybody for coming out again this evening. I know this is a busy week. We have Halloween tomorrow. We had Harvest Night last night. It's a very busy, wet, rainy night. But again, it means a lot to us that you made time out of your evening to come spend it with us this evening. For those of you that have little ones trick-or-treating tomorrow, be careful, be safe. It's going to be raining again. They said maybe turning into snow. So again, I want to thank my administrative team for coming out this evening and being able to share a little bit of what they do. I thought it was very important, as I thought about this evening, that you all had a chance to get to put faces with the names that you might have heard of. You've heard a lot about them, but maybe never had a chance to hear from them. So I thought it was important that they were here tonight to share a little bit of what they do and kind of the state of the schools from under their current umbrella. Thank you again to our teachers and our administrators who came out tonight as well. And again, it's an open door. We have moved to the Holmes building. If you guys didn't know that, we're there. Feel free to stop by and see us anytime. So thank you very much, and I hope you guys have a good night.